Hey, it's Doodlebud. Today, I'm not talking about pens and engineering build quality. Today, I'm going to talk about some inks, in particular, my top 5 blue inks that I use all the time. So 5 inks and 5 pens. Going to do a little writing sample today and just chat a little bit about why I choose these for my top 5 inks. You know, if I lost all my inks, something happened, we dropped them, they all got smashed. What 5 would I go for right away, especially with blue? These would be them. So first up is none other than Parker Quink. This is just the basic washable blue. I believe I actually bought this bottle in Staples. You may go for Parker the first time you get a fountain pen and are thinking about getting some ink. But actually that's a good ink to have that accident on because of its washability. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that over there for a moment. Oh gosh. Okay, so here we go. Look at this. This is going to go all over my hands. Okay? I'll come back in a second. You'll see how clean they get. So I guess that was a good test. Pretty washable. Have a little bit of stainage. I was using soap and water. Did a pretty good job, but then I use too much zoom going on with this fantastic all-purpose cleaner as well. It's good for the desk. And I just have a cloth kicking around, so that got the rest of it off. But that was unexpected. I guess when I was messing around, I ended up having a bunch of ink left in the cap, dumped it on, and it dumped out. So here's a good opportunity for an ink swatch. Don't want to let that disaster go to waste. But the reason I like this stuff so much, it's really safe, especially for your vintage pens. If you got some old vintage pens or expensive pens and you're worried about damaging the internals, something bad happening, corrosion, or just gumming up a feed or something like that, you don't have to really look any further. This is a really super safe ink. You really can't go wrong with it. It's nice and light. It doesn't have a lot of amazing characteristics. As you're going to see, I'll do some writing samples with everything all together. But it's nice and clear, nice and clean, good flow, cleans up easy, and safe for your pens and also your hands. Next up is, again, a very safe brand, is Waterman. I got my Schaefer PFM. I'm going to do the writing sample with that at the end with all the other inks. Again, very safe. A little bit darker color this time. One super slick detail with the bottle is when you get near the bottom, you just do that and you can put your pen in from the side and get that last little bit of ink down there as well. So again, don't have to worry about damaging any pens. Let's crack it open, not have a repeat of that. And since I got this giant ink blob in the back, I might as well get some on here too, just so you can see a difference. We'll do a big gooey mess in the back here, but then we'll do a proper writing sample and we'll build on it as we go. Another super reliable ink I find, especially when I got to put some flex on a pen and I'm worried about it keeping up, but I still like a blue ink. Diamine Sargasso Sea is usually one of my first go-tos. Again, a nice, deep, dark, rich blue. Most of my inks I like are darker in color. Let's get some drops going on here, and we'll build on this so you can see. Nice and full blue. I like a fairly deep, dark blue. The turquoises and stuff like that, I'm not as big of a fan on, but again, fairly safe inks. The pricing on these bottles is fantastic, and if you're going to show some flex, I have never had any problems with this whatsoever. In my Pilot 823, I'm going to be writing with another Diamine ink. This is the Majestic Blue. Reason I chose this one, again, good saturation on the ink, but it also has some nice sheen ability to it as well, as you can see on the neck there of the bottle. This one I'm a little more cautious on, say, vintage pens or ones where maybe there's an ink sac, or just, you know, if I'm going to leave it in there for a bit, I might not use this on some of my older, more delicate pens just to do with the sheen. But again, nice dark blue, but it has some great sheen. And rounding out the top 5 is the Monterverde 2018 DC Supershow Blue. Got that in my Pelican 140. Again, we're going to do writing samples with everything. One thing I noticed with these caps is a lot of times this will be stuck into the bottle, and it is a pain to get out. So that's a bit of a pet peeve. I don't know about the 90 ml bottles, but let's just give you another little look here. Get some out of there. And it's got some beautiful shading, a little bit brighter, but still nice and full. So I've already gotten ink absolutely everywhere and on my hands, some more ink just in the intro here. So let's see how terrible this is going to be, but I'm going to do some writing samples, give you some comparisons. When I got my first vintage pen, I was advised to just use Parker Quink. That was for my Parker 51. I didn't really listen and didn't think much of the Parker Quink washable blue because it doesn't look that great. But once I got my Schaefer PFM, it was a little higher price pen and I was worried. So I got the Parker Quink and I got to say, I really enjoy it. The Waterman, same thing. Just been on a bit of a tear right now to get good, reliable, safe inks that I don't have to worry about with washing and stainage and all that kind of stuff, especially for the older vintage pens and expensive ones. And the Watermans, I found you really can't go wrong as well. This one's a little bit darker. And the Sargasso Sea, you've seen me use this a lot on my reviews, especially it's still in that good blue pen. I've used a few different inks. I've had some be too flowy, like the Writer's Blood is crazy, way too much flow. Sargasso Sea seems to be just perfect for these type of pens. Majestic blue, same thing, really good flow. The colors aren't too far off, as I mentioned before, but it's nice for printing too. You get some nice sheen on it. It's pretty well behaved. Like I said, can get a bit sticky with that sheen. And then the DC Supershow. Just love the shading on this one. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up quite so well, especially with it being dry right now, but it just really pops. It's one of those blues that's vibrant. It's not too light, so it shows up well, especially if you got to scan a document or something like that. But it's nice and legible, but it's also just a bit of a funner color. So we're starting off with the Parker Quink. This is the washable blue. As you can see, it's fairly light, maybe even a little bit faint. I find on some of my creamier papers, it gets a little bit darker, soaks in a little bit more, but it's just so reliable, you just don't have to worry. The Waterman Mysterious Blue, now it's got almost like a denim-y type blue to it, a little touch of a greeny or a gray to it as well, but a little bit darker, but super duper safe. Then we got the Sargasso Sea. It's got some nice sheen to it as well, but I just really enjoy this color. Nice and full, very rich, almost like a velvety type blue. And as I mentioned, on flex, this thing has never let me down. We got now the Majestic Blue, also by Diamine. Now, these inks, those bottles are such a great deal, especially cult pens. You can pick them up. Just one of the best deals for inks that's out there, and they behave quite well. This one, you got to watch a little bit with the sheen. Depending on what you're writing, what you're using, can get a little sticky or smudgy as well. But again, quite a lovely color. They're not too far off, but off just enough that I do keep them both. And wrapping it up, we got the Monterverde DC Super Show from 2018. Nice and bright, a little bit brighter than most of my other inks now. There's other inks that are way brighter blue, but for me, that's a fairly bright blue. Lovely shading, and here they are all together. Had a little smudge on the Waterman there. Yeah, just go in the same order there as well. You can see that sheen really taken over on that Majestic Blue. But let me show you some other papers. I figured since I have that, I might as well show you the giant mess I had. Washable Blue on the top. Mysterious Blue by Waterman's. Got Sargasso Sea, Majestic Blue, and the 2018 Super Show. So a couple papers we're going to compare against. This one's a little bit brighter. So this is my cheaper Muji loose leaf paper I've shown before. And this is one of their premium papers by Muji, a little bit creamier. You can see the difference in the whites compared to the rhodium in the background. So you can see the Parker Quink, same pen, washable blue, but looks very different. A lot more saturated, a lot more full. This paper is a little bit more absorbent, but it gives a nice, significantly darker color, not as washable on this paper as well. There's the Mysterious Blue, looking a little bit mysterious. It's got more of a gray tone almost, but it's still, it's almost like a blue-black, I would say. Sargasso Sea, you can see this has just got too much with that flexy nib and very saturated feed for this paper. And we got the Majestic Blue and the Super Show, and right over here, a slightly creamier paper. Again, you can see quite a difference between the two. We got the Quink up there, and again, the same order as well. So let me just zoom past so you can give these a look. That's it for today. We're just talking inks. Very simple, nothing sciencey or engineering going on, but thought I would just share with you my top 5 blue inks. Blue's a pretty popular color, and why I like the ones I do. So there we go. Maybe in the comments, leave your top 5, your top favorite. Yes, there are some crowd pleasers I left out, like Hiroshi Zuko Konpeki. I have it. I enjoy it. just not as much as these. One that could have slipped in there that might on a different day have taken out Majestic Blue, since they're not overly far apart. But to kind of catch in the high end would be Robert Oster Fire and Ice. That I was really debating the two, but if I filmed this on another night, that might have been in there instead. So anyways, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Share with us what you like for your favorite blue inks, and we'll catch you next time.